It's time to present Scott to Pot to bring you another episode of Finance Your Movie with tips and strategies to help you get your money to tell your story. It's time!
So back with another episode with Stephen LaMorte, writer, director, producer of Screamboat, and Amy Schumacher, producer and actor in the film.
Yes, hi.
We're here. Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, we don't have our mutual friend Martine, the producer, executive producer, but so glad to have you guys back. I really appreciate your time. I know you're like right in the middle of Screamboat, still crushing it in the theaters, or getting ready to eventually cross over to the streaming release. So thank you so much for your time. My prediction, by the time this airs, it will have crossed the $100 million mark. So congratulations in advance.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I
Thank
believe
you.
you.
We
Yeah.
were shocked to hear it happen, and but we're not surprised, and we're grateful for everyone that made that happen.
So what was really interesting, and I don't want to kind of discuss what both of you discussed, like your early stages of how you broke into the industry, your very, very first films. Go back to episode 603. That was the beginning of last season, and you can pick that up. But I'll never forget, at the end of that episode, we were promoting The Mean One, which congratulations again, that thing is still out there crushing it.
Thank you.
You guys just have the magic touch with movies. But I'll never forget, at the end of that episode, I said, "So Stephen and Amy, what new project do you have going?" And you looked at each other. I'll never forget that. So you're like, "Can we talk about that?" I don't think so. And it's like you couldn't say anything. But so that leads us to Screamboat. I guess let's talk about how it all started. I guess the copyright had it expired and it went to public domain.
Yes, we actually knew about a year prior that the copyright was expiring. Whether we believed it or not, we actually weren't 100% sure that something wasn't going to change or Disney wasn't going to do something to restart the copyright or anything like that. But as time was getting closer, we knew that the copyright was expiring on January 1st, 2025.
24.
24.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, where are we?
We're in
What is
25.
Yeah.
Yes,
24, yeah.
24. And so we got to work right away, but we already had it in our mind. This was what we wanted to do. We were keeping an eye on it prior to that.
Awesome. So tell our audience about the whole process, about how it all came together. Was Martine one of the people that was like, "Hey, let's put together the business plan. We'll go start looking for money." How did that all happen?
Well, we knew after The Mean One, sort of going viral and taking the wild explosion onto the scene that it had. We announced the concept. What was supposed to be a free Tubi movie ended up in theaters for 5 weeks in the holidays in 2022, which is nuts. I mean, just absolutely crazy. We knew we wanted to do another movie that was a horror reimagining of a character that people knew and that they loved, and that would really connect with audiences. But we also knew that The Mean One was meant to be a streaming movie, so it was on the smaller scale in terms of its production, and that meant we were able to shoot a lot faster. But it also meant that when people, whether it was audiences, theater owners, or buyers, saw the value in it and saw that they wanted to take it wide, it meant that the film wasn't necessarily ready to be shown on such a big screen, played so loud, dubbed in every different language. So we knew when we started this new project that we wanted to make another big screen theatrical experience, something that people would want to sit in a room, in a packed house and laugh with their friends and be grossed out by the bigger blood gags and more popular characters. And so we sort of developed this whole thing based on the assumption that it was going to be a theatrical event movie. So we started
bigger
talking.
budget.
That's right. Yeah, bigger budget for sure, but also knowing that that was part of our business plan, because when you go right to streaming, you sort of have it's a different approach as far as your pre-sales and what's the intention for around the world. Are you expecting them to put it in theaters as well? What's your footprint going to be in the US? So we knew that we were going to get together with some of our partners, but we also knew that the intention was to go bigger. And it wasn't really a hard sell as far as, well, look how well the Mean One did, so let's go bigger. But it definitely does mean that you have to bring in more partners and you have to hold your overseas partners accountable because we opted to go the pre-sales route, pre-selling overseas territories to help us get the film sort of packaged before we had even shot it. But it also meant that now we had built a machine that would put the movie out, which required us to have all of these overseas deliverables. It required us to finish the movie earlier than we were planning to do. It required making sure that everyone got the same assets, the stills, the press drops, the announcements, that everything was in alignment because now it had to go to 10 different territories playing in God knows how many languages all over the world. Today's our Mexican release day, but we have trailers in Russian, we have trailers in Japanese, we have trailers in Portuguese, we have there's a
Polish,
French trailer, there's a Polish
German.
trailer, there's a German trailer. So I mean, this thing is going all
Wow.
over the place. And it's just a massive operation. It's good and it's bad because your film is financed, but the downside is it presents these challenges to make sure that the German team has what they need to promote the movie and the Russian team has what they need to promote the movie. And the whole time you're like, it's coming out in the US in a month. I have more time to tinker. And they're like, no, we need time to dub it. We need time to get all of the paperwork in order because it's an export and now there's tariffs involved. So it's a little bit mind numbing, but it's very cool to see the movie out in the whole world and know that, you know, the plan is working.
So how big of a kind of a feather in your cap, or how helpful was it that you had come off a really successful, very, very low budget movie that exceeded investor expectations? Did you go back to some of those investors, or did you go out to new people to get the equity portion?
We went back to the same, I think it was immensely helpful in that we had it the best proof of concept that we knew how to do this. We knew how to make an adaptation and, uh, do something that was something the audience really was looking for. And we learned a lot of lessons on the one before in terms of audience appeal. And once we knew we were going to partner with Fuzz on the Lens, that even made a broader audience for us. And so we went back to the same distributor who was all on board, having worked with us the first time on the Mean One. And so he had built some of those relationships with what we had done there. And then in collaboration with Fuzz on the Lens, who are the producers on Terrifier, there's a lot of crossover with that team and our team. And so both of those movies, Terrifier being, I mean, the insane smash hit, yeah, exactly. And the Mean One having had so much success, I think both of those things were incredibly helpful.
Awesome. Were you, congratulations on your cast, by the way. I mean, Tyler Posey, a few other big names. Were you able to get any of those guys attached before you had the full financing? Or did you get the money first and get the talent and then do the pre-sales?
David was the first person we cast, David Howard Thornton. So that definitely helped us. Tyler Posey came more of a roundabout way because we organically cast Jesse Posey, his brother, in the lead character. So as we were developing and working through,
I meant to also mention Jesse. Sorry, by the way, Jesse,
no,
if you're listening.
no, I mean, but that's
You're
how
both
that
great.
happened. They're both great, and
Yeah.
Jesse was fantastic, and Jesse auditioned, and we knew right away that he was the one we wanted, and Tyler wasn't even on our radar as part of the project until Jesse became such a shining star on the film. So that was less early on. I think David Howard Thornton being attached immediately was helped us with financing.
And is something that I think is really this good sign of a healthy project is it's one thing if your budget starts to expand because things are going wrong and you're using money to put out fires. It's another thing to say, this is going to be a streaming movie, but the theaters want to play it. This is supposed to have a cast of up and comers who maybe don't necessarily have name recognition, and then some more notable actors or influencers are drawn to the project because of what it is or because of the script or who's involved. So there is something really cool about having an independent project that starts as an idea, 100 pieces of dead tree with ink on them, and then all of a sudden these really talented, amazing individuals in front of this camera or behind the scenes start gravitating towards it. And then it's like this movie wants to be bigger. This movie wants TV stars to be a part of it. This movie wants, to the explosions to be better or for the music to be a live orchestra. So I do think there is this balancing act of you want to make the best movie possible, but is there a profitable $100 million budget for Screamboat? I don't know that the film necessarily needs to be that big, but I do think there is something cool when talent and in every element of the filmmaking process is just drawn to a cool idea. You have to kind of find a way to reallocate your resources to support. If you can have a real tiger, but you need to pay for a truck to bring him in and all of these safety precautions, but the real tiger is really there. Sometimes you have to look at the opportunity and the cost and say, well, it's actually better for our movie if we do spend a little more or reallocate resources to facilitate these amazing things that are drawn to the flick.
And the virality of our first announcement of the movie, I think, afforded us some of these incredibly talented businesses and companies and people that wanted to come on that maybe would have been slightly out of our scope, but that were thrilled about the project, wanted to be the one who led their department for the first time, even though they've worked on everything from Marvel movies to, network TV, that they came on and were able to lift the entire project up. But we couldn't do that without any resource. So as Stephen was saying, with every new person that came on, that we were like, this will level us up even one full step. This will be amazing, but it's going to cost us a little bit more and a little bit more. So there was some of that definitely happened. Worth it.
Congratulations on that happening. It's very, very rare for an independent film to get those attachments without your full financing. And I attribute it to two things. The concept with you guys jumping on so fast, and you had a vision for, turning Steamboat Willie into this Screamboat, and also your veteran team. So congratulations for making that happen.
Thank you. It's been really interesting. The film's not even technically all the way out yet, and the conversations we're having about the future of the franchise is really exciting because there's a point when you're starting out in the career and you really feel like you're yelling into a void. Will anyone see? I mean, there are hard days on set where you're sticky from fake blood, you're cold because the heat's not working, lunch is late, and you're like, does this matter? Is anyone going to see this? Does anyone care? And it's important to hold on to those moments and push through it, because I do think there's a point in your career where your first movie is not out and people want to talk to you about the second one or a continuation or anything down the line. And hard work and a really good idea really do go a long way, because this whole process can feel very daunting. And even now, right up to premiere day, we're sweating. We're like, oh my goodness, I hope people like the movie. I hope the premiere goes well. All of these industry professionals are going to be in the room and see it play on the big screen. What if it's too loud? What if the music's too quiet? What if they don't laugh when it's supposed to be funny? And then to sort of have that validation when the time goes to make your next project, be it jumping from Mean One to Screamboat or Screamboat to whatever may be next. It's really cool to see when you put in the work and if you put your heart and soul into something, that people respond. And then even if you're not fully financed, you're getting those messages. Hey, so-and-so said they really want to be involved in blank. And you're like, oh, well, maybe I can make something out of that. And if we're all just on the same page that, well, we're not totally financed yet, but here's our intention. Sometimes you get the right people to buy in and get excited with you. And that enthusiasm breeds enthusiasm. And people are willing to, take a chance and get in early. And then, I'll never forget the number of times we were told we were making The Mean One that we didn't have any name actors in the movie. And we said that we have Art the Clown from Terrifier at the time, Terrifier 1. Terrifier 2 had not come out yet. We said, we have Art the Clown. Terrifier 2 is going to be huge. And there's a lot of people in the industry who are like, what is Terrifier? I guess it was on Netflix. And he took a chance on us. In a way, we took a chance on him. And now we're here making a worldwide theatrical franchise come to life. And it's because a few maniacs believed in each other and put in the work. And now here we are. So anything is possible. And it's very exciting to be here today on the
A lot of
day
work.
of our Mexican release
Yeah.
in theaters.
You know, another neat element that I never really thought of as a filmmaker prior is the merchandising aspect of things. And it's not about filmmaking necessarily, but the more people that want to wear our shirt, it feels like a test case, a proof of concept. Oh, you like the movie so much you want to wear a shirt of it. That's something for me that I think was a surprising revenue element, and also just telling us people care. They want to rep the movie. They want to have something that says Screamboat on it, or the picture of the design of the character, and all of those different things is a, I think, fun, more surprising element of it as well.
Awesome. So another kind of unique thing happened early on in the process. I didn't mention this to you. So Martine called me up and she goes, "Hey, Scott, I know that you're kind of advising your clients how to raise money for their own films, but if you ever come across anyone, we need a little bit more money for Screamboat for this project." And I think she was looking for like 300K or something at the time. And I know your initial budget was pretty low. And it was very low. I mean, thank God Disney didn't try to make this, because they would have made it $100 million movie that it might have sucked. Um, but what happened with your additional talent, all these great things that happened, just a question for you. Did you have to go back when your budget increased a little bit and redo those investor agreements or the equity structure at all? Or did you just kind of keep selling shares and kind of work it all out on the producer points?
It really was just more restructuring of the way we were going to spend the budget and the order in which we were going to spend it, because the way that the initial plan was for the structure of the film was to start small and scale up as necessary. So there was always a world in which there's a ceiling on what we're going to spend, for sure. But no, it didn't involve making any changes, because we just sort of ramped up as needed, where we need the X amount for development, X amount for production, X amount for post. We can offset some of the post by shooting on the LED wall, and those VFX are happening in real time on set. So it was really more that than it was any kind of real aggressive change to things.
Really, really smart. There's one other film where I saw the business plan as well, and that was the Blair Witch Project. They actually came in, some good things happened at the end, right before they got the Sundance announcement, and they came in under their budget, so they didn't have to restructure. So I'm happy for you guys that you were able to do that.
I mean, there's no, I think, one way to finance a flick, and I do think that there's a balancing act between not knowing what you're going to make and shooting from the hip, and being in an environment where we have this plan, but we are open to what the universe provides. If we have to, we get the great blessing of an amazing actor, but he has to be flown in first class, we're going to make that work. So I do think the filmmaking process, there's stuff you come up with. There's opportunities that happen. There's artistic inspiration that comes in, and you have to leave a little bit of wiggle room for that. You making any film is a jigsaw puzzle, and making a film with special effects, half of the pieces aren't colored in. So I mean, you need a plan for sure. You got to know what the picture on the box before you go putting that puzzle piece together. But I do think it's important to, especially at the independent level where the money is not endless. You can't just throw an extra 30 million behind reshoots. I do think it's important to leave certain room for spontaneity and creative flexibility, because if you are too rigid, then you might be shooting yourself in the foot by not being open to an opportunity that ultimately will add value to your movie. If a movie star decides to do your flick, or you get someone amazing who, is like, "Hey, for no extra money, I'll do blank." You just have to rent the blank, and it's going to take your movie to the next level. It would be bad business not to entertain that as part of your budget, but obviously it does mean you have to restructure. So I think just leaving yourself that room is an important part of the process, to allow yourself the opportunity to see an opportunity and to roll with it and figure it out.
I also think it's important as indie filmmakers and, an independent production company to not give away all of our ownership of the project, because then what we do is not sustainable anymore. Then we're doing all of the work and not seeing any benefit or money come in from it to make it a sustainable lifestyle, to make it a sustainable business. So for us, that was an important element as well.
No, I'm glad you said that because as a producer myself, we work for years. I mean, people don't see the years and years in the trenches, both getting the film financed, all the pre-development, pre-production, and then, like you're saying, you're dubbing the thing in German and Russian and all this stuff you're doing for another year probably with all the
Mhm.
different releases. So
Mhm.
kudos to you guys for making it happen.
Thank you.
It's you have to really love the project you're going to take on. I mean, sometimes you can only make the movie that you have the opportunity to make, but I mean, it's like having a roommate for 2 years. This thing's going to live with us. It's going to be with us at dinner. It's going to be the thing that wakes you up in the morning because your partners are overseas and they don't know what time it is in LA. Like, I mean, this thing is like it's each your child. Every movie that you have, you grow it, you develop it, you raise it, and it has the temptation to take over your life. And I think you give away a little bit at a time to accommodate certain things. And at the end of the day, someone bips in and you don't want someone to pop in, do a little bit of work and walk away with more of your pie than you. Then you end up hungry and you're like, hold on, I made this pie. Why am
Yeah,
I
yeah.
so hungry at the end? But, Sean Baker, director of Honora, is like, imagine your rate, divide that by 3 years because it takes 3 years to make a movie that's not sustainable. So I think ownership of not just the movie's profits, but the rights and the ancillary markets, whether it's merchandising or public appearance or whatever, I think is just so important to being able to have a long-term sustainable future in this industry because lots of people are going to do a small part of the job, but you're the one left holding the bag. You're the one who has to get it started, and producers are the ones that are the last people on it when everyone else has moved on to something else. When there is quote unquote no money left, well, someone still has to type up the transcription for the German trailer. Like, who's going to do that? Well, there's no money left. I guess it falls to me. Who's going to approve 10, 15, 20 stills? Who's going to read through the magazine article to make sure that's not giving away plot points? I mean, all of that stuff is unbillable hours. So
Yeah.
you really want to protect your ownership of the movie because otherwise it just feels like it's not worth it.
So final question for you guys, and this is towards for aspiring filmmakers, maybe going out there and getting ready to do their first film, or maybe raising a little bit more to do their second film. I know you guys are a couple and you've been a team. How important is it, would you say, to somebody putting together a project of building a really good cohesive team? Not only you two, but you have a couple of other team members you've worked together on a few projects.
It's the most important element of it, in my opinion, because there are definitely days where we feel like we're the only ones still working on this thing, as Stephen was just saying, or where things feel like a lot of pressure or scary or incredibly joyous, and you want to have the right team by your side to know that you trust them, to know that you have their back, that they have your back, and that if push comes to shove, the few of you on that team are going to see it through to the end and no one's going to bail or have weird attitude things, or if people have little conflicts, this is a 2-3 year process. So you're like you called them a roommate, we're going to be roommates for a long time, so we all better get along. I mean, it's incredibly important.
Yeah. So, thank you so much. I know how incredibly busy you guys are right now. I'm deeply indebted to you guys and grateful for coming on here for a few minutes. What's the best place that, do you have like a website or a landing page where people can find out more information about the film?
Yeah, we're most active on our social media, which is at Screamboat Movie across the board on all of them: TikTok, X, Instagram, all of those things. And there you'll also find the link to our website, which is screamboatmovie.com. And all of our stuff is there.
And if you want to follow us, you can, of
Yes,
course, follow Amy Schumacher Official is
correct.
all of her handles. And my name is just me, Stephen LaMorte. And that's where, we share all of the projects that we're working on, behind the scenes stuff, not just the public facing things, but sometimes little teases of the stuff that we do on our personal social media. So anyone that's a fan of us, sometimes we'll get we'll get a sneak peek because real late at night when I want to share something cool, sometimes I just post it on social media and I blur out the important stuff. And if you have any inkling what I'm working on, it's kind of fun. So I encourage people to follow us because we post some pretty bizarre spoilers sometimes late night on social media.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. And if you haven't seen at Screamboat movie, check it out. You can still catch it in theaters, hopefully, or catch it streaming everywhere.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's
It'll be
right.
streaming everywhere if you're in the
May
US
2nd.
on May 2nd. And if you're outside of the country, then it will still be in theaters. In some instances, it won't even be in theaters yet. There's some territories who aren't getting it until June, which is absolutely, absolutely wild. So see Screamboat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
guys.
much. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Scott.
It's time!
There's never been a better time to make your own film. And if you have a dream project you're excited about and 100% committed to getting it funded, go to financeyourmovie.com, click on the green telephone, you'll see our calendar and find an open spot. We'll do a one-on-one call, which will be the best hour you've ever spent getting clarity and strategy towards financing your movie.